lot of my friends and family always say, geez, we never see you upset or angry, you don't yell and scream. I guess because I get a lot of practice down here with patients. But this is a very frustrating day. This should be a day that I wish Ohioans could see what goes on down here. It's a very sad state of affairs, and we talk about bipartisanship back home, and then we come down here, and you just saw an example of partisanship. Even putting a visual aid forward. I don't know if you folks have ever seen show and tell like that in committee before, and I certainly haven't. I don't know if Representative Gerberry has in all his years, but very disappointed by that. Well, we're in the Olympic spirit, right? The Olympics going on, but right now, I guess if we look at these election laws and the changes being made in voting, Ohio is failing to even get a medal. I think we're failing to even qualify in the events of voter registration and vote counting. Sad numbers. Ohio #1 in the country for purging voters, #3 in the country in casting provisional ballots, #4 in the country for how many provisional ballots we reject, 36th in the country in registering people to BMV. Ohio doesn't count provisional ballots cast at the incorrect location, while 26 states do in fact do that. If Senate Bill 205 passes, Ohio will have the harshest ballot rejection rule in the country. No other state that we've researched requires ballots to be thrown out for minor technical errors like this bill we require. We saw our recommendation that everything comply with the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act, rather. We saw that wasn't accepted either. When we get to talking about these voting restrictions, we often hear from the other side, well, what's so bad with waiting in line? What's so bad about less early voting? What's so bad? Well, they say people in other countries walk miles, they wait hours, they risk violence to vote. You've seen that in countries where folks proudly put their thumbprint up in the air to show that they voted. It's like they forget that people in this country also walked miles, they waited hours, they risked horrible violence, and they were insulted by having to take literacy tests. Can you believe we actually did that in this country? And we want to go back to some of this. Now, do we need to go back to that? Do we have an epidemic of ungrateful voters having too much voting or too much democracy? Obviously, we don't. We have an epidemic of not enough Ohioans voting and people having problems voting. It is the result of a purposeful voter suppression scheme. Yes, it's a voter suppression agenda scheme, whatever you want to call it. Glaring failures to expand voting and engage citizens in their democracy. We should be doing all that we can to make sure every Ohioan in the state who can vote actually votes. And whatever happens, the outcome, that's the outcome. But I'd like to see a day where we can brag about, we got 90% of the people voting, 95% of the people in Ohio voting, and then nobody can negate what happened with the election or who the voters really wanted. So with that said, I'm going to turn it back to Kathleen, and we'll be able to answer some questions.